Hello there, Rick Deckard 2020. This is Hell's Unicorn. A while back, a few weeks ago, you sent me a text comment on my channel regarding my opinion on Lyndon LaRouche, who was another person that caught your attention and who has said a lot of things that you agree with. Now, I had not really known much about the guy. I knew that he was basically, he's been a presidential candidate in the Democratic Party for the longest time. His supporters are seen as fruitcakes, basically, so, I'm figuring, these people are probably not all that dissimilar from Ron Paul people. They're sort of ostracized by the mainstream, and they're treated as conspiracy theorists. However, during my research, which has been fairly extensive and mostly internet-based because right now I don't have the funds to really buy any hard copies of any of his material, I came across some stuff here that I think you should be aware of. And I'm just going to go onto Google and I'm going to type something in for you and I'm going to give you the links for this. Alright, so we are typing in Lyndon LaRouche. Alright. And at the top of the book we got a nice little Wikipedia page with a bunch of general information on it. I'll leave a link for you to that. In addition to that, what I'm going to do now is we're going to do Lyndon LaRouche, Alexander Hamilton. Okay. LaRouche on Brazil and Alexander Hamilton. Now I'm just going to read a short excerpt of this for you. Presidential candidate Lyndon H. LaRouche Jr. sent a videotaped greeting to an August 29th press conference in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, announcing the publication of the first translation into Portuguese of U.S. Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton's 1791 report to the Congress on the subject of manufactures, one of the founding documents of the American system of economics to which LaRouche proposes to return our nation. LaRouche contributed the prologue to the translation. Now, I'm going to let you read this prologue yourself, but I want you to chew on this for just a second. Alexander Hamilton is the founding father of the United States of America, who was extremely big on centralized banking. I mean, that was basically his brainchild. He was essentially Karl Marx about 50 years or so before there was such a person. And as we know, Karl Marx was basically controlled by the Rothschilds and the other banking cartels, and that's one of the reasons why the centralized banking system was part of the 10 planks of the Communist Manifesto. However, in the case of Alexander Hamilton, it's a little tougher to come up with any specific connections to the Rothschilds. However, the Rothschilds were basically in charge of most of the banking establishment of England in the late 18th century after the Napoleonic Wars, and Alexander Hamilton had extensive ties to England and probably with the banking establishment there. Now, Mr. LaRouche has made it the centerpiece of his economic ideology to state that we need to follow Alexander Hamilton's model. This, in and of itself, disqualifies him as any real form of opposition, in my opinion. He is out there with the rest of them, with Noam Chomsky, David Horowitz, David Rockefeller, all of these people that have been tied into the banking cartels. He's basically one of them. He's another one of those gatekeepers. He's a little bit harder to catch than Chomsky, but it's there. So LaRouche, I don't trust him. Just as I don't trust Noam Chomsky or any of their neocon counterparts. They're all part of the same political paradigm. They're still basically beholden to the same banking culture, and thus not really worthy of your time. I mean, if you want to, as a hobby, look into some of the other stuff he said, be my guest, but he's, in my opinion, just a waste of time, and I'm not paying him any more mind. And I think that a lot of his supporters are being led to dead-end solutions, just like Chomsky's are, and so they're wasting their time. They're not going to get anywhere. They're basically beholden to somebody who's really no different from any of the others out there. He's just made to appear different. So that's the information I have on that. I've provided links to both of these, and I'm sure you can find more if you do a Google search on the guy. With prudence to myself and benevolence to you, good evening.